Did you know that elite marathoners spend 80% of their training time running slower than you think they should? Yet most recreational runners do the exact opposite, and it's destroying their performance. This single training mistake isn't just inefficient. It's the #1 reason why dedicated runners hit frustrating plateaus and suffer needless injuries. I'm Jordan Reynolds, founder of RunDot and training intensity specialist who's analyzed the training patterns of over 12,000 marathoners from beginners to Olympians. After comparing their approaches, we've discovered a critical pattern that separates successful runners from those who struggle. Today I'll show you 1. Why the intuitive way most people train is scientifically backward. 2. How the counterintuitive 80-20 rule transforms performance. And 3. How technology is making this elite approach accessible to everyone. But first, hit that subscribe button, because at the 3-minute mark, I'm revealing the precise intensity distribution that improved marathon times by an average of 18 minutes in our study group. Let me ask you something. How do you feel after most of your training runs? If you're like most recreational runners, you finish most workouts feeling significantly fatigued, breathing hard, legs tired, needing recovery. Here's the shocking truth. This moderately hard approach is scientifically proven to be the least effective training intensity distribution. Our analysis of 12,000 runners revealed that 76% of recreational runners spend the majority of their training in this moderate intensity zone. Too hard to build proper aerobic foundation, yet too easy to trigger significant high-end adaptations. This creates 3 major problems: incomplete aerobic development, insufficient high-end stimulus, and chronic accumulated fatigue. I know you're thinking, but running should feel challenging, right? That intuitive belief is exactly what's holding you back, because the science shows something completely different, and elite runners have known this secret for decades. This is where the 80-20 rule changes everything. RunDot's proprietary system implements the scientifically proven intensity distribution used by elite marathoners. 80% of training at genuinely easy intensity and 20% at high intensity, with very little in between. Here's how it works. Our algorithm analyzes your current fitness and establishes precise intensity zones based on your physiological markers, then creates a training plan that strictly enforces the optimal 80-20 distribution. When most runners try to run easy, they're actually running at moderate intensity, about 70 to 75% of maximum heart rate, instead of the truly easy 60 to 65% that builds aerobic foundation. One runner, Lisa, had been stuck at a 4:05 marathon for 3 years, despite consistent training. Within 16 weeks of implementing the 80-20 approach, she ran a 3:47, an 18-minute improvement with the same weekly time commitment. Remember that question about feeling tired after runs? The data shows that properly executed 80-20 training produces 26% better results than moderate intensity training, while actually feeling easier and reducing injury rates by 38%. Have you ever noticed that your easy runs aren't really that easy? Drop a comment below with your typical training intensity. Let's look under the hood at what makes the 80-20 approach so effective. Traditional approaches leave intensity largely undefined, using subjective terms like easy or hard. But RunDot creates precisely defined intensity zones based on your unique physiology. As promised, here's the exact intensity distribution that transformed our study group. 80% of training below aerobic threshold, approximately 65 to 70% of max heart rate, 15% at threshold or slightly above, approximately 85 to 90% of max heart rate, and just 5% at high intensity, approximately 90 to 95% of max heart rate. This distribution optimizes three critical physiological systems: aerobic foundation, lactate processing capability, and neuromuscular power. The truly easy 80% builds mitochondrial density, capillarization, and fat-burning capacity without accumulating fatigue, while the focused 20% provides the high-intensity stimulus needed for performance breakthroughs. A 2023 study from the University of Colorado found that runners who switched from moderate-intensity training to the 18-20 distribution improved their marathon times by an average of 7.2% while reducing injury rates by 38%. Meet Michael, a software developer from Denver, training for his second marathon. Michael had been running 5 to 6 days per week at what he considered a moderately challenging pace, finishing most runs tired but not exhausted. Despite consistent training, his first marathon was a disappointing 4:22, and he struggled with recurring calf strains. Using RunDot's 80-20 optimization, we discovered that his easy runs were actually at 78% of his maximum heart rate, well into the moderate intensity zone. His optimized plan slowed his easy runs by nearly 2 minutes per mile, while adding focused, high-intensity sessions twice weekly. Following this 80-20 approach, Michael ran a 3:58 marathon, a 24-minute improvement, and completed his training cycle with 0 injuries. Even Dr. Stephen Morris, head of exercise physiology at Boulder Running Lab, acknowledges the 80-20 principle is perhaps the most well-established training distribution in exercise science, yet remains the most underutilized by recreational runners. RunDot's implementation represents a significant advancement in making this elite approach accessible. You might be wondering exactly how to implement this approach in your own training, and that's what I'll show you next. Here's exactly how this would work for your training. First, RunDot establishes your precise intensity zones based on heart rate, pace, and perceived exertion. Second, it recalibrates your training to ensure 80% falls in the truly easy zone, which might feel uncomfortably slow at first. Third, it strategically places the high-intensity 20% for maximum adaptation with minimum fatigue. A typical week might include 4 truly easy runs, 1 interval session, and 1 tempo run, with the easy runs potentially 1 to 2 minutes per mile slower than you're currently running. You might be thinking, but won't running that slowly make me a slower runner? Great question, and it's the most common misconception. The research is definitive. Properly executed easy running builds the aerobic foundation that supports faster racing, while the focused 20% provides the high-end stimulus. Elite Kenyan marathoners running 2:105 marathons do their easy runs at 7:13, 8 o'clock minute miles, a pace that would feel absurdly slow to many 4-hour marathoners who train much faster. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Running that slowly feels like I'm not getting a good workout. This is the single biggest psychological barrier to effective training, and it's why technology-based guidance is so valuable. The data is unequivocal. The performance benefits come from the distribution, not the subjective feeling of effort. Others might wonder if this approach works for beginners. The research shows that newer runners benefit even more from 80-20 training, with reduced injury rates of up to 62% compared to traditional approaches. The key difference is that 80-20 training feels sustainable and progressive, rather than constantly challenging and depleting. I've got something special to share with you in just a moment that makes trying this even easier. RunDot's 80-pound-20 optimization is revolutionizing how serious runners train, delivering better results with less injury risk by implementing the scientifically proven approach used by elite marathoners. We're so confident in the difference it will make that we offer a completely risk-free trial. No credit card required, full access to all features, including our proprietary intensity distribution system. As promised, here's something special. Viewers of this video get an extended 30-day trial instead of the standard 14 days. Just click the link in the description and use code 8020 when signing up. This gives you enough time to experience the full benefits of optimized intensity distribution. We're limiting this extended trial to the first 100 viewers, so don't wait if you're serious about breaking through your current plateau. With fall marathon season approaching, there's never been a better time to transform your training approach. If you found this information valuable, hit that like button. It really helps the channel reach more runners who could benefit from this scientifically proven approach. Subscribe and hit the notification bell to catch next week's video, where I'll reveal how data-driven runners are creating breakthrough performances with analytical approaches. Drop a comment below with your current easy pace and your marathon PR. I read and respond to comments personally, and I'd love to explain how the 80-20 rule might transform your specific situation. Join our RunDot community, where thousands of runners are discovering the power of optimized intensity distribution. Remember, training smarter isn't about how hard each run feels. It's about creating the perfect physiological stimulus to trigger adaptation while minimizing injury risk. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the road to your next PR.